wife allegedly has broken her silence, and what she's revealed has everybody shook. After years of whispers, cover-ups, and unanswered questions, she's stepping forward with the identity of the person she believes is responsible for Malcolm's death. Let's be clear, this isn't some vague statement or cryptic clue. She's naming names, exposing details, and pulling back a curtain on a story that's been buried for far too long. But this is where it gets messy. She's claiming that before his passing, Malcolm was bombarded with anonymous threats, warning her to back down, and that he was being followed and watched. Looks like someone powerful is clearly trying to keep this truth from seeing the light of day, and they're not playing fair. So now the real question is, why? Why now? And who benefits from keeping Malcolm's death a mystery? Y'all, the deeper we've gone, the uglier it gets, and from the way that his wife is speaking, it's just getting started. So grab your receipts, because this isn't just a grieving widow speaking out. This is a woman on a mission to take down whoever's responsible, no matter how high up the chain it goes. Y'all, from the way that Malcolm's wife allegedly exploded, it's looking like she's coming for blood, because in her words, Malcolm didn't drown. She's finally ready to expose exactly who did it. She's not holding back, no mincing words, and not letting his killers walk free. Now forget what the media told you. She's calling it a full-blown cover-up, and what she knows now could flip everything upside down. Names, threats, motives, she's laying it all out, and the way she's talking, somebody out there was about to get exposed. But what makes her statement hit even harder is knowing how fiercely Malcolm protected his family while he was alive. He never shared their faces and never revealed their names, and he made it a priority to keep his wife and daughter out of the spotlight and away from public scrutiny. And now, even in her grief, his wife is honoring that. She's staying anonymous, but she's not staying quiet, because despite keeping her identity hidden, she's allegedly still coming forward with everything she knows, and the way she's doing it is controlled, calculated, and fearless. She's making sure that Malcolm's voice is heard, even if she never shows her face. The first thing she did was shut down the drowning story, because in her words, there's no way Malcolm died in that water. According to her, he was already gone before he ever hit the ocean, which is why he couldn't fight to save himself when that rip current hit. It's claimed that Malcolm was a strong swimmer, like really strong, and he knew how to handle those rip currents. This wasn't some freak accident where he panicked or didn't know what to do. And the part that really didn't sit right was that there were bystanders trying to help, and even then he didn't respond. That's when it looks like something was seriously wrong. There's claims that an autopsy was done shortly after Malcolm's death and found no water in his lungs. And if that's true, it completely changes everything, because if there's no water in the lungs, that means he couldn't have drowned, at least not in the way that the media has been pushing it. So now the question becomes, what really happened before he hit that water? Well, it looks like his wife might be claiming he'd been poisoned with an untraceable poison, and that he was pushed into the water as a way to hide the evidence of the crime. But why on earth would anybody want to take Malcolm-Jamal Warner out? I mean, he was calm, low-key, and completely unproblematic to most. He kept to himself, stayed out of drama, and somehow managed to show up in the spotlight without getting caught up in scandal. That alone made him rare in Hollywood. So why would anybody want to see him as a threat? It looks like his wife might be saying that Malcolm had started speaking out, and not just casually. She claims he was getting more vocal behind the scenes, calling out some very powerful people, and apparently they didn't take that lightly. See, Malcolm was starting to make waves because his podcast, Not All Hood, was hitting a nerve. He was calling out the industry's hypocrisy, exposing the quiet struggles black actors face, and pulling back the curtain on how things really work in Hollywood. It wasn't sugar-coated or watered down, and the more honest he got, the more uncomfortable it made certain people. And in one particular episode that I'm going to play, Malcolm doesn't just talk, he was naming some patterns, challenging power, and waking people up. And that kind of truth-telling usually comes with consequences.
You know, the reason for the title is combating the narrative of black life, black culture that the media focuses on. And you know,
that we're all one thing.
Yeah, and the whole concept is, you know, we're not all hood. The black community.
I welcome you guys back on here. If you're new, consider subscribing, liking, and also share this video. So as we're still mourning and also commemorate the legacy, the life of Malcolm-Jamal Warner, who passed on just a couple of days ago. But of course, there is something quite thrilling, you know, when you happen to look into the private life of Malcolm-Jamal Warner. But before we dive into that, there's been rumors that has been circulating, you know, saying that the wife is not really very much convinced that Malcolm-Jamal Warner just passed away as a result of drowning. From the reports we've been hearing, you know, from various YouTubers, various bloggers, they have been saying that the wife of Malcolm-Jamal Warner actually said that there were a couple of people who were trying to silence him ever since he started, that podcast. And because during on that podcast he had tried to attack a couple of people here and there, most especially the gatekeepers of the entertainment and Hollywood as a whole. So a couple of people were following him, but of course these are all allegations, because no one is 100% sure that he didn't just drown while he was in Costa Rica taking his vacation. So he's a man who has actually kept his family private, and he just often shared a couple of snippets from his family, because when I was trying to look through some of the Instagram posts he made in September 2023, he recalled watching Sing 2 with his family and his daughter, bringing up the idea of washing their car together. You can't pay for genuine love and connection. When speaking on his wife, he said in May 2025 that they had been together for almost 10 years and they had never heard a fight or an argument, a raised voice or a harsh word said to one another. And it's not like they agree on everything, but because they met later in life and they've just always been at a point where they have a way of communicating like adults. So he often kept their identities private for a reason, and he didn't want actually to reveal them to the public and social media. We are still mourning him and of course commemorating his life and legacy, and all we can say in this morning time is continue resting in power the king that is Malcolm-Jamal Warner.